Hey, hobby friends. Your old pal Bo here. The only man on YouTube with a face for radio and a voice for print. Hey, I just got done watching a video by my good friend Squirrel Hermit, and this is a video for him, maybe for anybody else too. It's kind of what's dovetails what I've been saying. He named a few games, Harn and Palladium, and a few other systems that aren't super well known, for the normie role player. And it really got me thinking about, what an experienced gamer could do on YouTube that maybe isn't getting done. And I got the idea from miniatures wargaming and especially Warhammer. A lot of times a club or a store will put together what they call an escalation league. And for what you don't know, and not familiar with the concept, an escalation league is where everybody starts with a bare minimum sized army, a box of miniatures, one starter set, whatever. And then in every week, you build another unit, you paint another unit, you learn another, stat block, whatever for your guy, and you put a little bit more on the table every week until by the end of the league, you're playing with the regulation armies. And how this relates to the RPG world. I know that there are games that do have beginner sets, beginner rules, light rules, regardless how crunchy the game is. For that game, it'll have a lighter set of rules. And I was thinking, like with Squirrel, it would be really cool if a really experienced game master could take a game like Palladium or Harn or Hackmaster, any of the others he was talking about, and break it down Barney style to the beginning, just to the very beginning of the game, and say, this is how you make a character. This is how you resolve conflict, and that's really what all RPG rules are, right? All RPG rules are are sets that dictate how to resolve conflict in hopefully in a fair way, right? And combat is a conflict, negotiation is a conflict, any competition for limited resources is a conflict, and games have rules for that, so that the game your pretend game, your game of make believe, just doesn't boil down to a, I got you first. Well, I have shields. Well, I have arrows that go through shields. Well, I have shields that block arrows that go through shields, because it's what you did when you were, 6, 7. And that's what role playing games really should do. So, yeah, if your game is cool, if your rules are really hot, having some, this is how you play and this is why you should play. And then maybe that if you had some live events, maybe at the end of that year series, if you're going to do like a 6-week series or an 8-week series or 12-week series, at the end of that series, the people that participated could get together on Roll20 or Discord or whatever, and have an introductory game based on your thing, based on the thing that you're introducing. You're going to introduce Harn, and you're going to say why you think you should play it, what makes it so whiz bang, and then the next week, it's kind of like mini session 0. You're going to teach the viewers a little bit about the game, maybe where they could find abbreviated rules if your game has abbreviated rules. And I said a lot of games do, and a lot of games might not. Sometimes they have free abbreviated rules. And just start at the beginning, work your way up, how skills work, how advancements in skills work, whether it's a level-based game or whether it's a skill-based, point buy or dice pool or whatever it is. You say, look, this is how you advance. If we're playing the game, and like I think he said it was Hackmaster where there was a percentile between um, attribute scores, and if if my attribute is 1450, and then do I get to roll percentile dice again at the end of every so many sessions, and then I bump up when it gets over. So anybody who's played the game with me knows I can roll a whole lot of teens. If the object of the game is to roll high, you can bet I'm rolling low. And if the object of the game is to roll low, you can be sure that I'm rolling high. And that's just one of the reasons I make a better DM than a player. I can role play like a mother. Boy, I can be in character. I can be immersed. But if you ask me to roll a die, you can bet your butt that I'm going to roll the opposite of what it is, to the detriment of the party. Anyway, it's just an idea, and I hope that Squirrel gets that. Or maybe not. I mean, let me know in the comments. If I'm up in the night, if it's really been done, I know that Legion of Myth did a really good job of explaining. For example, they broke down the D&D Cyclopedia, Barney style. I don't know if it culminated with any, live plays. And that's kind of the difference that I was talking about. What makes it different. And you don't need to get off into the weeds and get all the nuance in for your game. I don't need to know about how this game originated and how it's sort of subverting the tropes of Dungeons and Dragons, and how this distribution of numbers is better than that distribution of numbers. You can if you like, but just explain why sell your game. Why should I play X over Y? That also gives you an opportunity to review games or to endorse games that are still in print, still available, readily available, easily available. Just an idea I'm having. There are no end to these. Doesn't help that by the time I get the paint sufficiently thin, I end up glazing 4 or 5 coats to get good translucent coverage. But it doesn't obscure any detail, and they usually end up looking pretty good when it's all done. This guy's got maggots on his back. Again, which is super cool under magnifying lens. But if you want to feel bad about your painting, you get on Instagram, and whatever model you're trying to paint, just type in, hashtag that model. Get on Instagram and you type in hashtag Poxwalkers. Find people painting these things up like they're trying to win a golden demon. And it makes me feel pretty dumb. Maybe if I actually had some lessons on how to paint instead of just trying to teach myself. Anyway, that's enough for now. I appreciate you guys. Like I said, this is a short one. And I guess really what it boils down to is how we can sort of be that force for gaming that we want to be in the world. If there's, I've said this before, but if there's not the game that you want to play, then you run the game you want to play. And if you've got a game that's just the coolest thing ever, if you think Hackmaster is the coolest game ever, get your phone out, make a video, and show me, because I am always interested in looking for games to play, games to run, and especially games that hold true to that old school aesthetic, old school in terms of how you play, even if the mechanics are not according to that 800-pound gorilla. All right, I'm going to get ready for work. I will see y'all later. Peace.